Fatemeh Sepehri's health has reportedly deteriorated significantly while in Vakilabad prison, Mashhad. According to her brother, Asghar Sepehri, Ms. Fatemeh was transferred to Shariati Hospital due to severe hypotension. After being hospitalized and undergoing an echocardiogram, she was again transferred to the same hospital as her condition worsened. Family members report that Fatemeh suffers from heart palpitations, chest pain, and back pain, symptoms they attribute to the substandard conditions in Ward 5 of the prison. She has been on a communication and medical care strike to protest her detention conditions, leaving the family with no choice but to visit in person to get updates on her health. Fatemeh Sepehri suffers from heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. She underwent open heart surgery but was returned to prison without being granted medical leave. Her brother holds Judge Tabatabai, the head of Mashhad Prison, the Director General of Prisons in Rezavi Khorasan, and Ali Khamenei responsible for her situation and demands the suspension of her sentence or immediate medical leave. Zahra Kohnekar, also known as Sepand Azar, a monarchist political prisoner held in Vakilabad prison, Mashhad, continues to face restrictions on phone calls despite the official end of her one-month communication ban. According to informed sources, although her initial punishment for cutting off phone and visitation rights should have ended, the restrictions persist. Before the ban, Ms. Kohnekar was allowed 2 phone calls daily. However, prison authorities have reduced her phone access to a single 15-minute call per day. In protest against this new rule, Kohnekar has refused to make any calls, stating that she will not resume contact until her previous communication privileges are fully restored. In a note passed to fellow inmates, Kohnekar wrote, "I am just waiting for the downfall and freedom." Her mother, who has not heard from her daughter for a month, has expressed growing concerns about Ms. Kohnekar's health and well-being in prison. Iran's Minister of Health, Mohammad Reza Zafargandi, has announced alarming statistics revealing that around 50,000 children die annually due to air pollution, while traffic accidents claim approximately 30,000 lives each year. He described these numbers as a significant public health warning. Zafargandi also pointed out that when he took office, the Ministry of Health faced a staggering debt of 970 trillion riyals, which is 97,000 billion tomans, which he considers one of the ministry's major challenges. Meanwhile, Mahmoud Reza Aghamiri, the president of Beheshti National University of Medical Sciences, highlighted other pressing issues in the medical education sector, including financial difficulties, the brain drain of talented professionals, outdated medical equipment, and a severe shortage of resources in medical universities across the country. Dump truck drivers staged a protest on the Kashan Ring Road, expressing their frustration over the ongoing diesel shortage and what they perceived as an unfair distribution system. The drivers, facing significant challenges in maintaining their livelihoods due to fuel scarcity, demanded urgent intervention from the authorities to ensure a fair and consistent supply of diesel. They voiced concerns about the impact of the fuel crisis on their work, as the lack of diesel not only disrupts their daily operations but also leads to financial strain. Farmers from Rafsanjan gathered in front of the governor's office to protest the power cuts affecting their wells and farmlands. The protesters, expressing their frustration, dumped dried pistachios on the ground to visually demonstrate the losses they have suffered. They accused the government of destroying their livelihoods, pointing out that frequent and unplanned power outages have significantly damaged their agricultural production, especially the pistachio crops that are vital to the region's economy. Workers from the Arak aluminium manufacturing plant gathered in front of the factory gates to protest the frequent power outages and the looming threat of a complete shutdown of production lines. The workers voiced their concerns about the severe impact of ongoing power cuts on the factory's operations, warning that continued disruptions could result in the closure of the entire production facility. They emphasized that the factory's stability and their livelihoods are at stake, as the power shortages make it impossible to maintain consistent manufacturing processes. A group of applicants for the National Housing Movement Plan in Qazvin province gathered in front of the Housing Foundation building to protest the lack of response from officials and the prolonged uncertainty in the implementation of the plan. Residents of a village in the Arak county located in the Reza Khorasan province blocked the main road in protest against the poor condition of their access road. The demonstration followed two recent traffic accidents that endangered the lives of several residents. Protesters gathered at the site to voice their frustration over the narrow, worn-out, and hazardous road, emphasizing that despite repeated promises from officials to widen and secure the route, no effective action has been taken so far. Importing truck drivers gathered in front of the Ministry of Industry, Mine and Trade building in Tehran to protest the non-clearance of their vehicles from customs. The protesters expressed their frustration over the prolonged bureaucratic delays which have left their trucks stuck at customs, severely impacting their livelihoods. They called on the authorities to expedite the clearance process and address their concerns. Property owners from the Zaytun residential complex located in the southern part of District 13 in Tehran held a protest at Pastor Square. They gathered to express their frustration over the authorities' failure to implement final judicial rulings and the ongoing obstruction of construction in the complex. The protesters demanded immediate action to resolve the legal issues and allow building activities to proceed. Bakers from Rafsanjan and Dimishk, Gilan, North Khorasan, Mashhad, Qom, Isfahan, Khuzestan, Kermanshah gathered in front of the governor's office to protest against the non-payment of their dues, the sharp increase in production costs, and the growing financial pressures affecting their livelihoods. The protesters voiced their frustration over the rising expenses related to raw materials, utilities, and operational costs, which have severely impacted their ability to sustain their businesses. They called for immediate government action to address their demands, including financial support and a fair pricing policy for bread that reflects the current economic realities. Social security retirees in Tehran, Shush, Ahvaz, Kermanshah staged a protest to voice their frustration over poverty, inadequate living conditions, and the lack of attention to their demands. The protesters gathered to express their dissatisfaction with the government's failure to address the financial hardships they face. They chanted slogans demanding fair pensions, timely payments, and improved social security policies. Retired telecommunications workers in Tehran, Tabriz, Kermanshah, Elam, and Khuzestan held a protest to express their dissatisfaction with poverty, poor living conditions, and the government's neglect of their demands. The retirees gathered to call for better pension benefits, fair treatment, and relief from economic challenges. Holding signs and chanting slogans, they voiced their frustration with the authorities' continued inaction regarding their livelihood concerns. Shared images from Hafezieh Stadium in Shiraz show that after Fajr Sepasi's 4-0 victory over Damash Gilan, fans chanted the national slogan, Reza Shah, rest in peace, while leaving the stadium.